Welcome, everybody. This is week number 3 of your coaching, and we'll continue. And of course, Courtney's going to be coaching today, and Aaron's going to be coaching. And then I have a third. There's only 5 of you today, so we may finish a little early. We'll see. Today will be a little bit. I'm shaking it up a little bit because we've heard the beginning. We've heard the question asking, the reframing. We've done you've done a lot of practicing, and so I'm just gonna I add something in every week, and then today we're going to a little bit different as far as the coachee. So I'll be giving you some different instructions. So this week is week number 3. So the overall arching theme is recovery. We still ask our coachee where they're at. There are 2 words, and then you listen to where they are till you get a good idea, and then the question I want you to ask as the coach is something about recovery. So either, what does recovery mean to you? That's a really good start, because remember, they've already gone through the kickoff. They've gotten the text messages. They know, they have an idea, but it's, what does it mean to you? What does recovery mean to you? And then a follow-up question could be, what do you do for your recovery? What are you doing right now? Or could you be supported? Now, these are all on page 49, 48. But what we're doing is giving you a little more practice into the flow of this, so that you have this overarching theme of recovery, weaving it into whatever they say. Does that make sense? Okay, so anyone, before we get started, because we'll jump right in this morning, does anybody have any questions about anything at this point? Okay. Excellent. Well, Courtney's going to go first. And Courtney, you're going to be coaching Tina. So remembering what I just said, but before we start, Courtney's going to lead us in a grounding exercise, and this is something you won't do with your coachee unless you feel like they're just kind of off the wall and they need a grounding. But this is something you will do for yourself before you start your coaching. So, Courtney, we're ready when you are.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. All right, so we are going to get started with just a very brief grounding exercise, just to make sure we're all present and ready for this practice coaching, and we can just kind of let go of all our distractions. So I'm going to invite everybody to just sit up in the chair and place both of your feet on the ground. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you can cut your camera off if you would like. I'm going to invite everybody to just kind of look down at the ground or close your eyes. And we are going to do some deep breathing, and we're going to start by just placing our right hand on our left shoulder. And we're going to place our left hand on our right shoulder. Really pay attention to how you're sitting in the chair. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Side body is lengthened. You're not slouched over. Again, both feet are on the ground. And we're just going to do some deep breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. And we're just going to continue that slowly in through your nose and then out through your mouth. When you exhale, really letting all of that air out and then filling back up in through your nose. We're going to do 3 more breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And with this last breath, as you exhale, you can relax your hands by your side and open your eyes. And we'll be ready to begin.
Okay. Thank you, Courtney. Does anyone have any feedback for Courtney?
Please give it to me because I was a little nervous.
I was gonna say, I liked your reminders to like lengthen your side body and, like really to focus on like your physical presence, because that helped me, kind of know what to do to relax.
I think
Thank
for
you.
me, and y'all don't judge me, but like when we have these sometimes and people tell you to breathe in and breathe out, I get really nervous because I'm like, well, that doesn't feel natural. So in a way, providing that quiet space to really find what a deep breath was for me and then an exhale was for me, it was very comfortable. So I appreciated that.
That's one thing I feel the same way, Erin. So that's why I thought like not saying inhale, exhale would just help people like create their own breathing pattern and just like a reminder. So that's why I did that. So thank you for noticing.
What else?
It was very relaxing. I feel very relaxed.
Okay, well, good. Well, good. Well, of course, I have feedback. So just a couple of things. To frame it in some way. Now, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Are you hearing that feedback? Like a shh. So I don't know if that's me or if
Hold on. I
that's
wonder if it's my printer. Hold on one second.
okay. Turn that printer off, or if somehow. And I
Okay.
always call that. Okay. If it's a distraction, if I hear it, but I don't know, I'm still getting used to my my new aid. So I thought maybe it's just me. So a couple of things of feedback is the meditation part and the breathing was great. It's nice to have a frame. So you said it at the beginning, you said just let go of all the distractions. So one way you could have said is as you exhale, let go of whatever happened this morning, let go of whatever you have going on after this, so you can be completely present in the moment. You also could, and I told you as we're going on, I get pickier because I have to, there's nothing big I can tell you. I have to get picky with and so we can all learn. Another thing you could have done is somehow woven the theme of rest and recovery, or recovery. This is the place that you can recover anytime during the day. So anytime we can add a teaching point about why we're doing this, because what I have found is, like myself, nurses want to know why. Tell me why, and I'm good. But don't just tell me to do something, because I'm going to question it, because that's how we think. We question everything. One more slight variation could have been what we want. We always want to say, I want you to, or we're going to, and those words don't need to be said because it's inferred. So now let's take a deep breath. And you practice with us, which is great because it gets you in that place too. Let me see if this is the problem. I'm still hearing some. Are you hearing that? You're like somebody moving paper around, it feels like. So I'm not really sure what that is. We don't usually have that issue. Does anybody have anything else going on in their office? Okay. We'll let it go then. Try and you've all got your microphones off, so you're all muted. So let's see if that helps. Maybe that will help. If not, then we know it's me. So the fewer words, you want instruction, but I want you to, we're going to, are kind of, they're throwback words, like basically, you know, those words that people say all the time as a space holder. And I'm just, for all of our refinement, the less you say, the better, so that people can, as to Erin's point, people can really go internal. So that was great feedback that you got, Courtney, and you used it because you did it that way because that's helpful to you. So that's a really good example. If it works for you, it's probably going to work for somebody else. But does that make sense to you, Courtney? What I'm saying? And we all do it. We all do it. So I mean, I still say I want you to, and I just practice not saying it. So, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to say that. Okay. So the first coaching will be Courtney coaching Tina. And so Courtney, just as review today, to make sure to ask Tina at some point in the session, in the beginning of the session, ask her how she feels about recovery, what she thinks that is, and in some way, and then you'll just go down the script. So are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Courtney.
It's good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Do you have your feel wheel with you?
I do.
Okay, we're going to get started with your feel wheel. Can you, and with our 2-word check-in using our feel wheel, can you give me 2 words from the feel wheel that kind of tells me how you're feeling today?
I am feeling grounded and confident.
Okay. Those are 2 very good words. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you're feeling grounded and what made you choose that word?
Because I did a grounding exercise before I came to meet with you today.
Very nice.
I wanted to be in a good headspace.
Now, is that something that you find yourself doing more often?
Yes, and I've been doing this positive intelligence thing, and doing PQ reps just helps you to slow down and focus on something else.
Okay. I'm not familiar with PQ reps. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, PQ is what they use to say positive intelligence. Why it's not PI, I couldn't tell you, but PQ. And so the PQ reps, they're like little exercises. So it's kind of like just closing your eyes and feeling the ridges on your fingertips,
Okay.
or paying attention to your breath or something like that. And you get credit
Okay.
for it on this app. It's really good, but yeah.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for sharing that with me. And tell me a little bit more about confident. What made you choose confident as your second word?
I am knocking things off my to-do list. And that
Okay.
I feel very confident that I'm going to end the week on a good note.
Nothing feels better than knocking things off your to-do list.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with me. So this week is about recovery. So do you mind sharing, what does recovery mean to you?
For me, it is finding a way to relax,
Okay.
take time away from all of the outside forces.
Okay. So you mentioned getting a lot of things done on your to-do list. And so you just said recovery to you means to relax, to get time away. What are you currently doing right now with recovery to do those things, to take time to relax or to take time to get away while you're knocking out your to-do list?
I go get my hair done.
Okay.
I love it. I didn't used to do that, but I have made it a priority. I go and get my hair done. And also finding a book to read.
Okay.
I love to read, and I found myself not having time because I wasn't making time. So
Okay.
find a book to read.
And how is that going? Do you feel like you're reading like you would like to be reading right now?
No, because I have to work. Otherwise, I'd read all day. But for the time that I do have, yes, I feel like it's enough to just kind of escape for a little while.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So, recovery to you means to relax, time to get away. Currently, what you're doing is you're making getting your hair done a priority. That is a recovery for you. And you want to make sure you prioritize book reading time. So where do you feel like you need support with recovery right now with where you are?
I don't always practice good compassion for myself.
Okay.
And I let guilty feelings come in, especially when I'm spending money to get my hair done.
Okay.
And guilty feelings when I'm taking time for myself to read and invest in me when I could be doing something else.
Okay. Okay. And that can make recovery not feel like recovery sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It feels
So,
selfish.
yes, it does. And it does. So I would like to invite you to let's maybe create some action steps and some goals for you to be able to set time to recover and not feel that guilt and not let that like kind of take over that recovery time for you.
Okay,
So
so stop right here, stop
okay.
right here, stop right here. So, again, words, I would
Okay.
like to set some action steps for you. It's not about you, so it's about her. So again,
Okay.
another question. It's always a question, always a question. So
Okay.
how could you reword that so that it's on Tina?
I could say, what goals can you set for yourself this week to focus on recovery and not feeling that guilt that comes along with it?
Okay, and even shorter, what could be, but without saying goals, because guilt and goals, it kind of so it feels a little awkward. What could you say to get right in there? What could you say? A question. That's perfect. Just make it shorter.
What could you practice this week to help with that?
Yes, that to help
Okay.
with what? To help with what?
To help with your recovery and
To
not
help,
feeling
but yeah. And go ahead.
and not feeling that guilt that comes along.
Exactly. Do you see the
Okay.
difference? And then it
Yes.
doesn't get lost in, oh, I gotta have goals around my guilt.
I gotcha.
Okay. Okay, so pick it up there, ask her again, and then this puts it on Tina.
Now I don't remember what I said. I said, what did I say? What can you practice? Okay, I got you. Okay. So Tina, what do you feel like, let me start over. So Tina, what do you feel like you can practice doing this week to help with your recovery and to take away with some of that guilt you're feeling?
I have to remember my compassion practice and that investing in me is not selfish, it is self-full. And I cannot pour from an empty cup. This is going to not only benefit me, but benefit everyone around me as well.
Okay.
So for me, I live and die by the budget. So making sure that my hair expenses are in my budget.
Okay.
So I don't feel bad about spending the money. And then instead of trying to read when I'm with my family, maybe after I get the littlest one in the bed and I'm going to bed, I can read then.
Okay. And how often do you like to read?
Oh, if I can do it every day, I try to do it every day.
Okay. Is that realistic for you to say that you like that you could read every day?
If I get 3 days in the week, I think I'll be happy.
Okay, at least 3 days. Okay. So looking at recovery, and some things you're going to practice this week, you're going to really look at your budgeting, helping you budget.
Okay, so stop here, stop here, stop here. Instead of you telling her, what could you do? Instead of you telling her what her goal, what her action steps are, how could you reframe that?
I could say, to follow up from what we just said, can you tell me what 2 things you're going to practice this week?
That's right. Again, always, see, this is what we do. This is what we do, and we're so good at it. You want to take care of, you want to line this up for her, but it's more empowering for Tina to line it up. So based on what you said, so say it again, that's perfect, and then let her decide.
Okay. Okay, so to wrap up from what we just said, Tina, can you tell me the 2 things you're going to practice doing this week for your recovery?
Yes, I'm going to make sure that I have committed to putting my hair cost into my budget.
Okay.
And I'm also committing to at least 3 times this week trying to read before I go to bed.
Okay, so what
Do
can
you have,
stop here, you know I'm gonna get this. So Courtney, she just gave you an opportunity to, what could you do? How could you reframe?
I was
What
going to say,
said.
is there a different word you could use besides trying to read?
And tell her why,
Um, okay, is there a different word that you can use besides trying to read? With this being what you want to practice every day, wait, how do I want to say this? Is there a different word you could use besides trying to read every day to make sure it's something that you actually do every day or at least 3 times a week?
Yes, I am committing to reading at least 3 times a week
Okay,
before I go to bed.
very good. And how does this resonate with you? How does this feel to you?
It feels good right now. And I think if I remember my compassion practice, it'll feel a lot better going forward.
Okay. Is there anything else where you feel like you need support with recovery this week besides the 2 things we've discussed?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And what do you feel like was the most meaningful thing for you today that we talked about?
Finding a way to get rid of the guilt.
Okay. Very good.
Is there anything you want to say, because that word's come up quite a bit in this session. So is
Mhm.
there anything else you want to say to her before you end this session around the word she's used a few times?
A couple things come to mind. I don't know, is it okay to ask why she has that guilt or what she could do in the moment when she feels that guilt to kind of
What question do you think is better?
the second one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're not in therapy. We don't want to
No,
get, we
we're
don't want
not.
to get
Yeah, as soon
therapy.
as I said that, I was like, I'm not a therapist.
So, so that's really good.
Okay.
And she's already kind of mentioned something, so go ahead, and with
Okay.
that, that's a really good question.
Okay. Tina, you've mentioned guilt a couple times today during our session. I'm curious, do you have any ideas of ways that you can kind of stop that feeling in its tracks whenever you start to feel that way?
I think if I just remember that it's not selfish. I'm not being
Right.
selfish by taking care of myself.
Right. And
And
you
those that I
mentioned,
take care of should appreciate that I'm taking care of myself so that I can keep taking care of them.
yes, you mentioned some things that you're doing at the beginning that you're trying to do more often with the positive intelligence. Do you feel like that could help that feeling when you start to feel guilt?
It does. It does. Some of the
Okay.
practices that I'm learning really do help.
Okay. Great.
Okay, and how are you gonna end this? How are you gonna end the call, Courtney? I mean, you've already recapped a lot. What's the last thing you're gonna say to her?
I'm going to say good work today and thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank
And
you.
then I'm going to start crying. No, I'm just kidding.
So how did that feel to you, Courtney? How did that feel?
It felt good. I feel like I'm so much of a talker. I have to remind myself to not just like talk at her, I guess, and more so just like ask the questions. Um, and I so badly wanted to like me recap what we talked about, but I know it's
Yeah.
important for her to recap. So I guess like if I'm doing that and they leave something out, like say I'm like, okay, so to follow up, to wrap up, let's like, what are the 2 things you're going to work, or what are you going to practice this week? And say she left out budgeting. Is it okay for me to then say, and also, but like, you know what I mean? Or should I just like try
Yeah.
to prompt her to remember?
Well, what do you think is best?
I think the best thing to do would be to say, is there anything else that we talked about you practicing this week? And then like, if the prompts don't get there, say, like, maybe say,
What about?
what about budgeting? Yeah. Okay.
That's great. That's great.
Okay.
Because again, and that's really good recognition. Of course you want to talk and you want to tell her exactly what to do because it's so clear to you, but it's more empowering if she figures that.
Right.
Anything else that you were feeling during this session?
I think that's the main thing. Yeah.
Okay. And that's great. That's great. And you don't even realize that's what you need to focus on until you're actually in it. So the other feedback I will give you is I understand that you're writing some notes, but you spent more time here than you did on the camera.
Okay.
So the eye contact, especially because we're virtual, is really important. And I take notes and you all know that, but I just usually write a word or two. So it kind of prompts me. And then right after the call, I also may make a note. So that, again, this is practice. That's all. Is practice is not to get so worried about what we're writing down, but to really feel present and you're hearing but what you did a great job was of really honing in on the PQ that she mentioned at first, on the relax, on the 2 words of grounded and confident and relaxed. I mean, you were really listening, you were writing. So now I'm inviting you to really focus on the camera.
Kind of find a balance of the 2.
Yeah, exactly. And just write a word or 2 down and you'll get this. You don't have to write down everything that they say, just so you remember. The action steps are important because then you can review those the following. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So good job. Really good job. Tina, how did that feel to you?
I mean, it felt good. I'm realizing that I'm still struggling with that mom guilt thing. But yeah, it helped me to remember that I don't need to feel guilty about taking care of me. It is necessary. It is priority. So yeah, I felt really good after it. It was very conversational. I didn't feel rushed or pushed or anything like that. So it was good.
Okay, good. And so you had that was helpful to you about the guilt, that can get in the way, which of course is very common. So good. All right. Does anybody else have any feedback for Courtney?
I think you both did a great job at once you did your initial introductions and you did your words, it felt much more like getting out of the, I guess, I don't know. It just felt more authentic the more you got into the conversation. I would say just feedback, since feedback is a gift. I found that it's hard to close our mouth sometimes, like we want to do those word fillers. And for me, it was a little distracting, Courtney. You said okay a lot, and not that that's wrong, but I kept hearing to fill that word space. It was okay. And for me, that was a little distracting because I was like, wait a minute, what did Tina say? So then because I was listening to that aspect, because it's so easy to say either ums or okays. I'm bad about it too, but just a little word of
Thank you.
feedback. You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, it's good. We all want feedback, and none of us want feedback. So it's good to have people point that out. So thank you for that, Heather. Anything else for anybody? I haven't mentioned this, but we record these and they're up on the website. So if you want to actually watch yourself on video, it's a painful thing to do. I've done it many times. And it can be quite, because, I don't know that I'm actually fussing with my hair, or I say okay, or thank you a lot, or something I don't say. So I would encourage you, if you're, to watch yourself, and it can be quite instructive. So you have to think of it that way, instructive and informative, not, oh my gosh, look at me. I can't believe I sound like that. I can't believe I look like that, to kind of get past that. That's where the compassion practice that Tina spoke about. Okay, good work, both of you. Thank you. Okay, so Erin is going to coach Amber now. Now, here's the thing, Amber, you're going to be a bit of a pain, because we don't need to be, telling how fabulous we're doing. So I want to ask you all before we get into this, as is kind of a setup for all of us, is, do you think that there's ever resistance with people that you are working with as a coach? Do you think the coachee could have resistance?
Definitely.
What could that look like? What does resistance look like?
Not wanting to change.
Okay, and what does that show up like? And the truth is, nobody wants to change. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, I just love change. I love variety. We only like change that we choose, that, we like it, that we choose, that's comfortable, that's familiar. If we're honest as human beings, we don't like change. So absolutely, Courtney, how does that show up, do you think, in behaviorally? How can that show up?
Excuses, like saying all the reasons why that won't work, or they can't do that.
All the reasons, which is probably other people and other things. Okay, so would it be fair to say then excuses are not taking responsibility? Okay, good. What else? How else can it show up?
Maybe they keep canceling or like saying, I can't meet at this time, like kind of pushing, if you have a set meeting cadence, keep pushing that off.
So not prioritizing this. And that's a big deal to, when you are selecting your coachees, which will first be champions. This has got to be, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to you and to the program, to you as a coach and to the program. And we know life happens, and this has got to be a priority, because if you, to your point, Erin, if you're not prioritizing your meetings, if you're not prioritizing your practices and your commitment yourself, you're not going to prioritize anything. So this is part of the process, and it starts from the time they say, yes, all in. Yes, all in. So good. What else? How else could it show up?
I guess that sense of someone, while we're offering insight, that feeling of like, you don't need to control or what I need to do, that feeling of not valuing, if you will, not valuing the insight of the importance. I guess that goes along with commitment, but taking it, well, you know what, like you don't know much more than I do. You don't understand what I'm going through. You don't.
Okay.
How do you think that this is going to help me?
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah. You don't have any idea. You don't live in my life. So that kind of is all woven up into the excuses and the blaming and this, what is this? Does anybody remember what this is?
Victim.
What is this? Yes, victim. Poor me. I have it so hard. I have it worse than everybody else. So this is the opposite of self-leadership, this. When we don't want to take responsibility because we are the common denominator in our lives, every relationship, every situation, every experience we are in. So if we are the problem, we can solve the problem. That's it. That's the empowering part. The hard part is to recognize we are the problem. Now, there are extenuating circumstances that we have no control over, like everything, but it's how we show up, how we respond, what decisions we make when that comes up, whatever it is. Husband surgery, budget issues, a call-ins, being sick, whatever it is, it's on us to make those decisions. So all this is really good. And it's good to know. The other one that, is anybody else have any other idea about resistance, what that could show up as?
I was gonna say, somebody we talked about not prioritizing, somebody who's distracted and, got other things going on, not really paying as close attention as we would hope.
Yes. So if you see somebody, if you are noticing, and so the other, and I'll give you one more example. This is all for you, Amber, because you're going to pick one of these today. I got this. Yeah. Yeah, I got this. I'm good. Yeah. I take care of myself. Yeah. I don't have a problem with the critical voice. I don't have a problem with presence. I'm always here and pay attention. I recover. I take good care of they think they have it. They think they have it. So that's another one. Yeah. I'm good. You don't have to talk. We don't talk about this. So that's another showing of resistance because they aren't willing to do this, which is to really look at themselves. Now, all of these, we're talking about kind of extremes, but it can happen. So you're going to call it as the coach, Erin. You're not going to say, I see you're in resistance today. What is that about? You're not going to say it like that, but you're going to call on, by asking another question, not just ignoring behavior that isn't going to help them move forward. Does that make sense? So we are not therapists, but we also are real and transparent. And we are transparent so that they could be transparent. So if we create a safe space that they can share, and I don't have concerns that any of you are going to create a safe space. And in real life, it's different than when we're practicing, but it's good to have someone who's not, every coaching session is not kumbaya and goes perfectly. It doesn't go that way. So on this next session, Amber, you are going to be in resistance, one of the ways, either what we mentioned, distracted, stressed, blaming somebody else, not wanting to take responsibility, not wanting to prioritize yourself, or, what are you going to tell me? You're not in my life. You heard all the examples. So you just decide what one sounds as, and Erin, you're just going to respond, and in going through the script, but maybe in a little different way, because it's not so, it's not such a warm, connected relationship now, because Amber's going to be in resistance of some kind. And again, you don't have to say that word, because some people are like, no, I mean, the first thing when you tell someone, if you were going to say you're resistant, what's the first thing they're going to say?
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. They're resistant to their resistance. So that's, we're not going to go there. It's, what's another way you could say, you could actually name it without saying, you are so resistant today. What's wrong with you? What's another way you could say, could you name it?
Could you say, in this moment, I want to invite us to hold a mirror up and let's really see what practices we can implement to help.
Okay, it's not we, because we aren't holding the mirror up. So that's the idea, but how can you make it a little simpler, a little more direct?
Amber, I need you to hold a mirror up and look deep for how you are going to impact recovery this week. Your recovery.
Okay. And this is not a test, so you're on the right track, Erin. One way you could, whatever behavior Amber is exhibiting, you could just say, Amber, I notice. Is that going to be helpful to, is that, I noticed that. I noticed that you seem really distracted today. Would you be open to a grounding exercise? I noticed that you keep talking about somebody else. What could you do how could you empower yourself to look at the situation a little differently? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm asking a question. It's not about we, it's not about let's, it's about asking her a question so she can see it. Does that make sense? Now, we're just making this up, but this is why this coaching requires such presence, because you have no idea what direction this is going any day, but especially the first time you meet someone, and so this is a little, because it's session 3, but it's really the first time you've coached each other. So let's just get started. Remember, this is practice. This is not perfection. Go with it, and if you get stuck or you're not certain, you can always stop. So let's just go with it. So we'll start at the beginning, Erin, and the theme is recovery, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Amber. It's good to see you today.
Hey, it's good to see you too. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I was just on the phone talking to my mom.
It's okay. Very good. Well, do you have your feel wheel with you?
Oh, I have it somewhere around here. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, here it is. Sorry.
Awesome. It's okay. What 2 words would you use today?
I think happy and content.
Happy and content. Good. Can you tell me more about happy?
Yeah, things are going great. Just happy to be here. I'm all caught up on all my work. Everything's going well.
Good. Tell me more about the word content.
Just like happy. Things are going great. Our patients are doing well. We're not really having any issues. Just, all caught up on everything. It doesn't happen often, so I'm really happy.
Very good to hear that. I would like for us to start this session with a grounding exercise, if that would be okay with you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so let's do that. So are you in a seat? You can put both your feet on the floor?
Okay, yes.
Okay, we're going to take our right hand and put it on your left shoulder. And then put your left hand on your right shoulder. I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to take deep breaths. So breathe in and out. Yeah. Okay. All right, Amber, you want to open your eyes? How did that feel?
That's great.
Very good. So the focus this week is going to be on recovery. What does recovery mean to you?
For recovery, I like to read. I like to spend time with my family. Just, enjoy the outdoors.
Those are good things. Tell me, those things that you enjoy, how do you put those into practice for your recovery?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sure. So those reading and family time and spending time outdoors, how do you put this into practice for your recovery?
I read every day, try to get outside and walk every day. My husband likes to walk with me, and we have a dog, so we do that every day. And we do it 3 times on weekends.
Awesome. So I heard you use the word try when you were talking about going on walks. So what would be, so if you try, hold on, I'm thinking through how I'm going to say this. Tell me about times where you haven't been able to take your walks.
Just if it's raining or something.
Okay. Diane, I'm feeling stuck. I need a call.
Yeah. So are you noticing anything about Amber right now? I mean, are you noticing on this call how she feels? Okay, so, or how she's behaving, not how she feels.
Mhm.
So what are you gonna say to her about this? Because you haven't named it yet, so what would you like to say to her or ask her?
So part of me wants to say, I hear that you're using words like happy and content, and really sounds like everything is going well. However, I'm observing you seem distracted today. What's going on?
Okay.
Is that okay to say, like, just to call it like I see it?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And you seem distracted, without judgment. So you could even say so go ahead, go with that, and let's see what happens. So you got to call it because she's not here, she's not present, and she's, very general, great, do this, do that. It's very rote, and you know that, and you feel it, and she feels it too. So call it, and let's see what happens.
Okay, Amber, so you've used some great words to describe, happy and content. I can't help but notice you do seem distracted today in our session.
I'm sorry. Yeah. My phone's kind of ringing and people are coming in the office. I apologize.
So this is time for you, and this is time that I can help coach you to focus on recovery. And so I want to make sure we have time and attention to give your recovery today. What does recovery mean to you?
Just a time to relax and kind of ground myself and focus, on myself.
In hearing how recovery looks and feels to you right now, are you in a space of recovery?
For the most part, yeah. My family, we try to take, our walks, like I said, and there are times when we can't, but yeah, I feel pretty good.
So
Good, I hear.
stop here for 1 second, stop here. So what she gave you was a great word, focus on myself. And focusing on yourself, that's what recovery is. All these practices are for ourselves. So maybe you could go that direction and ask her something about that, about what she's doing for herself. That doesn't include family and the dog and etc.
Okay, so you used a really important word there. You said focusing on yourself, and I want to know, what are actions you take for yourself? We'll kind of leave our families and dogs out of it. How do you focus on you and recover yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I read every day. So that's something that I do just for myself.
Sure. How long I know you mentioned every day. Is there a set time that you like to read every day?
Yeah, usually right before bed. Everybody's kind of quieted down for the evening, and it's just a nice quiet time. Half an hour, 15 minutes even, just right before I go to sleep.
Okay, so it sounds like you have commitment to that practice.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the recovery time that you need for yourself? Is
I
that
think
like
so.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other areas that we can work to, or actions that you can put in place to help in your recovery?
I think I'm pretty good just with, my nightly reading.
All right,
So
Diane.
what's
Am I
okay?
supposed to continue to be difficult, or do I wake up to this?
Well, this is real time. So why don't you
Yeah.
say something real? You could actually be real about recovery. But in this moment, what is like what the number one thing of recovery that Courtney and Tina didn't cover, that you could ask about? What is the number one recovery behavior? Do you know, Erin?
Rest,
Rest and more specifically,
sleep.
yeah, so maybe you want to ask her about that.
So Amber, how has your sleep been over, let's say, the past week?
Probably not that great. I might get 5 hours, 6 on a good night.
Tell me more about the 5 to 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I feel like the only time that I get to myself is, like reading time right before bed, and then of course I get up early because I'm here at work early, so it really limits, my sleep schedule.
What is your goal for sleep every night? How long do you like to normally is your sleep?
I've always been a sleeper. I have to get 8 hours to function. So yeah, I could probably do better there.
Okay, let's think about actions we can put in place to help you get closer
Okay,
to
so stop right there. Actions, not we, actions,
You.
you.
Yes,
Okay,
you.
okay, okay.
Okay. So let's think about actions you can put in place to help increase the amount of time you have to sleep and meet your 8 hour goal.
Okay. Yeah, my kids are older, so they don't need me to, get them ready for bed or anything like that. So really, it's on me to start getting ready for bed earlier, and I can still get my reading in, and just go to bed at a decent hour, not stay up watching TV late or whatever.
Sure. What time would you say is your goal of when you need to start getting ready for bed?
Probably by 9:30.
Are there any activities or actions that occur before 9:30 that prevent you from starting to get ready for bed at 9:30?
Not on a typical night. There's the offhand things, like picking up from dance at 9 o'clock, and then having to get home and feed dinner and things like that. But that's rare, and for the most part, it's not a problem.
What can you put in place to help protect that 9:30 bedtime wind down?
If I, start to get ready for bed by 9, and then, can be in bed reading by 9:30, and then, lights out at 10, I think that would probably be the best thing.
Are there any actions that will ensure that you're in bed and getting by at 9:30?
I could probably set an alarm on my phone because, 9 o'clock is not that late. And, my family, like I said, they're older and they stay up late. So, just a reminder that, hey, it's time to settle down.
Sure. I heard that word probably in there. So what's a word that we could use different from probably that would ensure that you're in bed at 9:30?
I need to set that alarm and actually stick to it, listen to it, don't just turn it off, and keep going. But yeah, I'll do that.
So then if you are in bed at 9:30, will that be successful in getting the 8 hours of sleep that your body needs?
Yes.
Okay. So are you going to do this 7 nights a week, or are there certain nights that you're committing to this practice?
Probably, Monday through Friday would probably be the ones I would commit to. Weekends are a little bit more relaxed and different. So, but yeah, definitely Monday through Friday.
Okay. When are you going to start this practice? This sounds like a good plan.
I will start it tonight.
Starting tonight. Very good. So I want us to, over this next week, I want you to
Stop
share
it. Okay. It's not us, it's not us.
you.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to review our commitments that we have for your recovery over this next week.
Okay, so yeah, I committed to set my alarm for 9 p.m. on weeknights so that I remember to actually, start heading to bed, be in bed by 9:30 so that I can read for half an hour before lights out at 10.
Okay, very good. What was most meaningful for you today?
Honestly, you kind of calling me out for my distractions was just what I needed, because, everything's great and, yeah, the floor's going well, patients are all being taken care of, but it's still so easy to be distracted. And I didn't even realize that I was until you mentioned it. So I appreciate that. And I was able to actually focus and, get something out of our session today. So I appreciate that.
So, well, you had very good work today. I'm very proud of you, and I look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel that went, Erin? How'd that feel?
It was hard at times, and I think that's the balance between like wanting to be like nice versus just needing to be frank with someone. And you don't want to, I don't want to like push future coachees away and, being too afraid, giving it time to kind of fill out where her headspace is. So it was difficult at times. And I'm such a we person, and but I'm getting to the point now, I'm like, you, okay. Because that's what I'm a very much a we person. So, but it was kind of awkward when she was very resistant, and it felt distracting, her being distracting to me as well.
Of course. So, that's interesting, nice versus frank. What do you think? Are coaches nice versus frank?
My job as a coach is to be honest. Because, in reflection, if you're nice and you don't really, it's the same way as feedback. Like if you don't, I look at feedback as a gift, and if people really didn't care about me, they wouldn't give it to me because they don't care. But being frank is a way to show, making sure they're successful.
And can you
Yeah.
be frank or honest? And I think honest is a better word than sometimes frank feels like,
Yeah.
So can you be honest and kind at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I felt like you were very, kind, and it would have been easy to get frustrated, I feel like, with how I was acting. So I felt like you handled it very well and you stayed kind the whole time. But while you also, called me out on how I was behaving.
Okay, good feedback. Anything else, Erin, that you felt?
Honestly, I'm one of those people, I like to go first at everything. So the fact that I'm like doing this last, it gave me like I hated it. I just wanted to go first, Diane. And then knowing too that I was going to have a resistant customer here, I had my script out, and I was like, I'm going to have to really like look at this and read it because I don't know it. And so I think I found it came a little bit more natural than I thought it would, if that makes sense. Just in hearing others go before me.
Okay, well, it's and it's good, you could always say, I want to go first. Some people love to go first, some people love to go last, and everything in between. But there's a reason I don't tell you ahead of time. The reason being because I don't want you don't need to be any more nervous than you may or may not be. And we all learn. So I want everyone to be really present and listening, because we all learn. So the you and I, the I and we, those are two just micro adjustments that that you can practice on, Erin, because it's not about I and it's not about we. It's about them. It's always about them. And again, not I want you to. I want us to. Can you commit? Will you commit? To X, Y, Z, but and really good specifics on the sleep, and how much sleep do you think you need versus what you're getting, and then specifically, and of course you can relate to this. Good job saying, well, I found that when I want to get my sleep, because this was something that you worked on. Good job not saying that, because it's not about you, and just asking Amber about specifics and what can you do, and what time and how many days a week. So that was really good, really good. Amber, do you have any more feedback for Erin?
Yeah, no, really thought it was cool that you took it the direction of, sleep and rest. And because even though like everything was perfect in my life, just pointing out sleep, like how are you resting? That I think really kind of, I don't know, pinpointed a need there. So
Good, good. And
Hey,
no
Diane,
one's life is, yeah,
I'm sorry, I have a question with that. So,
of course.
In those situations where everything's happy, I'm awesome at recovering, I'm awesome at showing myself compassion, it's okay for us to know what all goes into compassion and recovery and to bring up things that maybe they haven't brought up that we could just like, but in a question way, like, okay, well, it seems like your recovery is going well by making time for yourself, but how is your sleep? Like, and asking those types of questions. And okay.
Exactly. And, the balance here, we're not trying to find something wrong. Everyone does not have to be in crisis but we've all got stuff. We've all got stuff because we're humans and we've all got challenges. And so if you find someone like Amber, and you did a great job being resistant, Amber, you could have even been more obnoxious, but you did a great job. But just to call, we want to call it, and we want to call it out in a kind, to Erin's point, in a kind and honest way. So we're not trying to find something wrong. We're here to support, and this is, so you could even say something if somebody is just complete, distracted, everything's good, yeah, I got this, no problem. And you ask a few questions and they're still like, everything's good. You may have to remind them, and this is not usually the case. This happens almost never, because people want to talk about their issues and their struggles and their problems because they don't have anybody else to talk to them about that's actually going to really listen and help them. But if you have someone that is showing up resistant in this way, then maybe you just want to say something about, this is your time, and you did do this, Erin. This is your time to work on your recovery. And so, can you prioritize yourself right now and commit this to yourself? This is all about you. And so this is really sacred time that you committed to yourself. So let's give this the most value. Do you see what I'm saying? To kind of reframe, not like you're resistant, what the heck? Your life isn't perfect. No one's life is perfect. We don't go there. Or why are you resistant? We say, we just remind, this is all about you. This is about, and this will be more evident because of the safe space that you all create, because you're awesome coaches, just to stay on track. So, you're naming it, you're in a kind and honest way, because it's going to help them the most, right? If you just ignore poor behavior, it doesn't help, doesn't change anything. Yes, Courtney, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have another question. So what if
Okay, you know what? Could you reframe that sentence you just said?
Diane, I have another question.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
So what if like you do all these things, they're still distracted, the phone's still going off. Erin gave a beautiful speech about like, this is about you. Can you commit to making this about you? I mean, would it be bad to like say you go through all these things and then you say, do you need to reschedule like for another time where you can really focus and be present and we can talk about recovery? Like I'm talking like nothing seems to be working. They're still distracted. Their phone's going off. People are in and out of their office. Is that like, have you ever had to do that, I guess?
What do you think? What do you think is the right answer to that, Courtney?
I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or could you also just ask, like, right now for the next 15 minutes, what would it look like if you shut your door and you turned your phone over? And ask for that time.
Yes. And can you, or will you, will you, are you willing to? So that might be the first precursor. But if you find someone is, and we've all had days like that. We're human. It's okay. No judgment. You could do the grounding, which was, again, I wanted to mention that to you, Erin. Great call to do the grounding. And so you've done the grounding. You've asked if they're willing to. And it just doesn't seem to be working, and it feels like a bit of a waste of a valuable time, yours and theirs. Do you think, and I would ask them, not, I think we're going to reschedule. It seems like maybe it would be a good idea to reschedule this today. And when someone is distracted or resistant, it could be the best day ever to continue the coaching. So that is your call. And as a coach, you will learn. I have done that very rarely. Very rarely have I rescheduled. Very rare. Now, I will tell you, and I just as a reminder, and then we'll take a break. Sorry, we're going over. Is that, you know, if someone's getting, you know, people coaching calls and they're getting ready for work, and that's not going to work. They're driving. They're on their way to, they're driving on their way to work. That isn't acceptable. Always cameras on, always. And cameras on and focus, because you know, it's not a true coaching session if they're driving or getting ready for work, or people are coming in and out. This is their time. And it's the modeling, right? It's the modeling of self-leadership and of prioritizing yourself. And if you can't do it for this 50 minutes, then it needs to be rescheduled. So to your point. Yes, Tina.
So when I was listening, I wrote down a question that I would ask when Amber said she was distracted. I just want to know if it would be an appropriate question. But just bringing it back to presence, and what can you do in this moment to practice presence to get the most out of our time together? Is that an appropriate
Sure.
question to kind of
Sure.
like bring it all back together?
Sure, absolutely. And even and again, to practice presence, to be present, to feel like you're really here, because I don't feel like you're really here. So you know, I just know you seem distracted. What could you do? And you know, to Erin's point about, you know, closing the door or turning the phone down, and so but yeah, Tina, that's great. That's great. So you know, you weave this in, whatever is most appropriate. You're seeing that now. You don't just talk about recovery on week 3. You talk about recovery as the overarching theme, but when you notice someone is distracted, then it's about presence, right? And presence, you have to be present for your recovery. You know, you can't be distracted and multitasking and recover at the same time. So anything else? So good, great work, Amber and Erin. And let's take a 5-minute. Well, let me ask you. Let's vote. Do you want a 5-minute break, or you just want to keep going? So someone say, all right, I've got this and this, so I don't know who needs a break? Raise your hand. Who needs a bio break? Okay, then we'll keep going. And Courtney, you need to drop off because you need
Yes.
the staff today. Thank you. Great work, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, I only
Okay.
have call outs on Tuesdays, apparently.
Okay. Okay. All right. So third coaching is Amber, you're doing double duty today. Amber, you're going to coach Heather Coran. Now, Heather Coran, I don't know, you're gonna do something. You're gonna be resistant of in some way that we've talked about. And you can be as just to give an example, so that it's not all, you know, it's not all now it can also be real. Heather, you know, you have some things going on. It can certainly be real. So you decide how you want to show up. But what we don't want is content and happy and everything is perfect and you're doing everything correctly, because that isn't actually real. I mean, and the other thing I just thought of, when Amber said content and happy, those are kind of alike. So if someone says 2 words that are kind of alike, you can always ask, what's the difference? What does that mean? Because I think when you asked her, Erin, what do you mean by content? Then Amber just said the other word, happy. Well, give me another word that you're feeling, that helps us. And this time, Amber, I'm going to, when you ask for Heather's feelings, explain to her why we always use the feel wheel, just as a review. Just explain to her briefly for the rest of us, okay? Okay, are you ready? Okay,
Good morning, Heather. It's good to see you today.
Hey, Amber.
So, do you have your feel wheel in front of you?
I do.
Great. So the feel wheel helps us to kind of focus on what we're feeling at the given time. So take a minute, just look at it and let me know what your 2 feeling words are today.
Okay. Let's see. I would say busy and lonely.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about feeling busy?
Sure. So I am feeling, if you remember, my husband had surgery and I feel like a hamster wheel of running, of more responsibilities that are on my shoulders related to things that he used to do for us that I'm taking over now, and then busy because my hours are not necessarily here all the time. Yes, I'm here, but then when I go home after I get Luke settled with homework and dinner, then I'm doing some work at home just to stay caught up with things, in addition to taking care of Chris. So definitely busy, carrying the load.
Okay. So before we Sorry, I'm getting feedback. Before we move on and talk about your second word, let's focus on busy a little bit. So you mentioned taking on extra responsibilities. Today's focus is on recovery. So have you been able to practice recovery since Chris's surgery?
I would say that I am taking some time to recover. However, I know that the current state of my life right now is a little different, and sometimes that calls for us to be busy in busy times.
It does. You still need to take that time to recover. So, what are some things that you are doing even now to focus on yourself and recover?
I get sleep at night.
That's great. Sleep is good. About how long are you sleeping at night?
I'm exhausted. I'm falling asleep when I'm putting Luke to bed, but I would say I'm asleep by 9 o'clock and then get up at 5.
Okay. Do you feel like you get restful sleep?
Overall, yes.
Good. Um, Let me think. So, do you have any other recovery activities that you're able to do lately?
No, I'm just in the grind of doing things and taking care of other people and other things, and recognizing that that's okay, that I'm not doing that for me right now.
It is. It's okay. We do. I want to teach her things.
yeah, I know you do. I know you do. So stop for a moment. So she said busy more than once.
Mhm.
And she's saying it's okay, and you're saying, yeah, that's okay. It's not okay, because you know that when we're more stressed and we have more going on and we're more, more challenges, that's when we actually need to practice these practices even more. And that's when they fall off. So how could you kind of reframe this, not tell her, but and maybe a question around recovery. Do you think it's important that you practice recovery now? How could you practice recovery? Why do you think, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it brings it back to her, so that, because it's not okay. And you're not gonna, it's not a judgment, you're not gonna say it's okay or not okay.
Yeah.
You're just gonna ask another question around recovery, giving her busyness and her load that she's talked about.
So Heather, tell me about your recovery. You, even in this busy time with, caring for your husband who's healing, tell me why recovery is so important and maybe even more important now.
Well, I mean, I understand that taking care of myself is important. I do, but I'm also understanding that right now I feel like that I need to give of myself more than I can give to my own self. Give of myself to others is more important right now. That's more of the priority. I can get back on track. I feel like I got the things in my tool belt. I can do those things. But right now, I'm really feeling like other people are more important than me right now.
What makes you feel that way?
That's just who I am. That's what I do. I take care of other people. Work, home, all family, all the above, because that's what that's just what I do.
Have you ever heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup?
Yes.
I wanted to tell her how important it is to care for yourself.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? How about
What does
that?
that saying mean to you?
That it's dried up. If there's nothing left in the cup, there's no water left in the cup, so it's dried up.
Right. So how can you pour into your own cup so that you have more to give to others? Because I know that's important to you.
It is, and I think part of the problem perhaps might be time, because I'm like I said, I'm on that I'm on that wheel. I'm just go, go, go. Here we go. Got to go to this, got to be here this time, got to do this, and this. And there's no time for me. There's none, because there's none left. The day has run out. 9 o'clock has come. My eyes are going to sleep now.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say how busy you are. Do you think there's anything that you could either put aside right now or even ask other people to help you?
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right here. Perfect. At the line of questioning. But do you think there's anything, what's a better way to ask that question a little more directly?
What are some things that you could either put on hold or ask other people to help with?
Perfect. Yeah. What could you? Because no, there's nothing I mean, not what do you think? So perfect. So go ahead. That's great.
Okay. So Heather, what are some things that you could either put on hold for right now or maybe enlist some helpers to help you?
I really can't think of anything right now, Amber. I'm looking forward to we go to appointment on Friday, and maybe Chris can drive again. So that's something to look forward to. That will be helpful. I sure can't.
Nothing that you could give to anyone else. Is there anybody that's willing to help you?
Yes, but that poses another problem, because I don't want to place my burdens on someone else.
Okay.
How could you reframe that? How about Amber, you just say, how could you reframe that? How could you reframe that?
How
You
could
could
you
also
reframe
bring,
that?
or the empty cup, bring that back in, or the self-leadership that, I mean, you're on the right track, just reframing it for Heather, who's being resistant.
So Heather, going back to the empty cup, there's only a certain amount of time in the day. So what does having an empty cup, how does that, what what could you do to fill your cup up a little bit more?
Um, I, s- um, I don't know, find some time in the day, what that looks like.
What does finding time look like to you?
I wish, I don't know, make it, should I work 24 hours a day? Um, let's see, finding more time. I guess being more, looking for those few 5 minutes that I have, to, even if it is 5 minutes, because I am at a lack of time right now. So, even if it is 5 minutes to do maybe a grounding or something just to remind myself of what I'm doing and what I'm going through, but to just to reflect on myself.
That's perfect. Is there, a time or two during the day that you could even carve out and schedule that time so that you can have that time to focus?
I might could do it when I'm sitting in the car rider line.
Okay. Temporarily, I think until you get a little bit more settled with Chris and everything, I think that would probably be excellent. When is the
Okay, stop
Carter
here,
line?
stop,
Two?
I'm gonna stop here. It's not what about you, it's not what you think.
I know.
Amber, it's not about what you think. We all do it, we all do it.
Mhm.
But she said something really important that, that I'm gonna ask you to go back to. Do you remember what she said? Say, I don't wanna place my burdens on someone else.
Mhm.
Okay, that's kind of a big statement, isn't it? What do you
Right.
think you could say to her about that? About, what's a question you could ask her?
Um, I'm sorry, there's people talking outside my office. I'm sure you guys are hearing it. It's really distracting.
No, we don't hear it actually.
Okay, good.
I don't hear it.
So I forget what I was supposed to say. Can you remind me?
Of course, I'm asking, what's a response you could, or a question you could ask Heather about, I don't want to place burdens on
burdens,
somebody
okay.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, would I ask her like, how does that feel to you? Or I don't know how I would direct that without making it sound preachy.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair. So, do you think putting burdens on someone else when people have offered to help you, is that about you or is that about, and let me think about this, because out of context, it's a little tricky. Just ask a question, something around burdens. Just ask Heather a question, something around burdens. I don't want to give you the words. You just,
So Heather, you mentioned you didn't want to put your burdens on other people. Have you had people offer to help
there
you?
you go. Perfect.
Yes.
You have? Okay, that's great. So they wouldn't offer if they didn't want to help. So what are some things that you could give them since they have offered?
So I'm just stopping you here for a moment. Instead of saying some things, because she's resistant, one
Mhm.
thing. How about just
Okay.
one thing, okay?
What is one thing that you could give to the person who has offered?
I suppose I feel less guilty. Even though my parents live in Virginia, I feel less guilty asking them than someone else. So I think, just yesterday, my mom was like, hey, if you need me to take Luke for another weekend, I can do that soon next weekend. If you want me to do that, I'm happy to do that just to give you a break for yourself on the weekend.
Would that be helpful for you? Would that help you allow yourself some recovery time?
While I'd have to deal with my own personal ability to say yes, I I do think that that would give me some mental rest, some
Okay.
quietness for myself.
Is that something you're willing to commit to following through on that offer?
It's something I can highly consider.
Let's highly consider it now and say that we're going to commit to that.
Okay, I can have a conversation with my mom.
Excellent. So that would allow you some time over the weekend to gather yourself and recover. What are some ways that
Okay,
you
I'm gonna
could?
stop you right here. I'm gonna, because that's really good. Excellent job, Amber. You really did great, coming back to the question. See, it's better. See, I want to tell you too. I want to tell you what to say. So we all go through this, and that was excellent, the way you framed that. Again, it's always asking them a question, always bringing it back to them. So how do you feel this is going, Amber, today?
She's tough. I mean, it's okay, not great, obviously, but you know, it's okay. I think I'm definitely learning, what I can say and what not to say.
Well, so I just like to give you some feedback. There is a night and day difference in the first time you were coaching. Remember this? You were doing this the whole time. You're much more present, much more conversational. And we're using this as an example. Yeah, it is tough when someone is
Mhm.
not just leading you down the path.
Right.
It's just to keep us more present. And what's the next question? You don't have to know everything.
Mhm.
So that's the beauty of this. We don't have to know anything. Just the next question, just the next, you know where you want to go. They don't know where they want to go.
Right.
So, and calling it. So, I mean, you feel, it feels like you're much more comfortable, conversational. What about you, Heather? How's that feeling to you?
Well, it was really hard, Amber, just so you know, to be tough. Like
I'm sure it was.
I really had to contemplate what I wanted to say. And just because we all know each other very well, I am truly trying to take care of myself. A lot of that was story that was elaborated upon.
Yes, we know.
However, it was hard, but at the same time, I appreciated Amber's willingness to continue to ask those questions. It's like she didn't give up on me. She didn't say, well, I mean, that's okay. I understand where you are. It's a really hard time that you're facing. And yes, you will get back on track. Like it really pushed me to find a solution for myself.
Good. And that's what we want. That's what we want. That's the crux of this coaching, is not telling, asking so that they can tell you. That's the magic of this coaching. It's so much more meaningful when we figure it out for our own selves. And you all know that because you've all done it. Tina or Erin, do you have any comments for Amber or Heather?
I just think, like, from my perspective, while the more resistant coachees are, it did seem more natural. Like it seemed less scripty from where we were trying to go. And like, that was a good thing.
And it's good to start with the script,
Mhm.
structure, and then we kind of peel off and get a little, wait till next week, you won't even believe it. What
Well,
we're
it's
gonna
like
do
we have
next week.
it's like we have the blueprint, right? And like, it's just how we build the house might be a little bit different with each.
That's right.
Yeah.
It will be different with each, it will absolutely be different with each person. And the structure remains the same, always, always, always. Their action plans will be different. Their challenges will be different, their life will be different, but we always stay with the structure. And that's why practice, because we want to tell, we want to advise, we want to fix. Tina, do you have anything to share?
No, I was just gonna say that what I always say, just ask more than you tell.
Yeah.
And I think that'll
Absolutely.
save us all from becoming therapists. Asking questions.
Okay, well, really great job today. Great job, all of you. I mean, I hope you can I hope, Amber, you felt the difference between this time and last time. And I
Definitely.
hope that you're all seeing the difference between the first time that people were coaching when you were, this was brand new and it was like, I don't know, comparatively. So, same time next week. And, really, really great work. Really, really great work. And the beauty of this is we never get it right. We never get it perfect. We just continuing to grow and learn, and you will learn more from your coaches than they will ever learn from you. They don't need to know that, but you will know that. And it's such a gift. It's such a gift to give people the insight to say, oh, yeah, I figured that out. Even if they don't do it consciously, it's a gift that you give. So thank you all, and have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.